Human brains are remarkably bad at processing raw, uncontextualized data. The systems that dictate our physical reality and our civic society are often presented as massive walls of information, making them deeply intimidating to learn. This is the periodic table of elements. It is a brilliant categorization of chemical properties, but as an educational tool, it exists as an abstract grid of letters and numbers that prioritizes rote memorization over actual understanding. The U.S. legal system presents a similar barrier. Through the Department of Justice's architecture, the law appears as a cold, rigid bureaucracy. But at the building's base, an engraving reveals its true goal. The system was designed to protect people, yet feels devoid of humanity. Modern education often strips away this context. When we teach chemistry or law strictly as formulas and statutes, we create a massive literacy gap. Students see only the cold mechanics and miss the underlying purpose. Restoring our ability to navigate these systems requires a translation layer, an interface that aligns with how we naturally process the world around us. Steele Harrison Knudson is an American author and legal mind who built a career bridging the seemingly unrelated fields of science, law, and storytelling to create that missing translation layer. This is the headquarters of the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission, or SEC. The SEC is an independent federal government agency responsible for protecting investors and maintaining fair functioning of securities markets. Knudson started his career managing high-stakes cases involving financial oversight and digital innovation right here in Washington, D.C. This image shows the entrance to the Federal Communications Commission, another federal agency where Knudson expanded his work. He spent years navigating dense regulatory law, environmental zoning, and public policy, mapping out the intricate rules that govern modern society. To process the often absurd machinery of this legal system, Knudson turned to fiction. He wrote The Fifth Monkey, a satirical legal thriller that uses surreal metaphors and existential humor to examine justice and morality. He then distilled those same dense legal concepts for children. In his series Law and Bananas, he uses a monkey lawyer to teach the specific mechanics of torts. A tort is a civil wrong that causes a claimant to suffer loss or harm, resulting in legal liability for the person who commits the tortious act. By packaging civic rules inside a narrative, the concepts become accessible. Children grasp profound moral ideas about fairness and liability when those ideas are expressed through the intuitive mechanics of play. Knudson applied this exact same translation method to physical science in The Super Elements, a vivid universe that personifies the entire periodic table. This is a portrait of Dmitry Mendeleev. Mendeleev was a Russian chemist who created the first widely recognized periodic table in 1869 to organize elements by their chemical properties. Knudson took Mendeleev's historical baseline and modernized it for human psychology. He maps exact chemical behaviors directly onto the characters. The mass, reactivity, and bonding patterns of an element determine the physical anatomy and personality of the hero or villain. Take the heroine chlorine. In nature, chlorine has the chemical ability to purify water, but it can also be highly toxic and act as a deadly poison. In the super-elements universe, this dual nature creates a morally complex character who constantly wrestles with her capacity to both heal and harm. The universe also operates on strict game logic. For example, there is a core rule that an unknown element cannot beat a known element. By playing the game to win, students inherently internalize the foundational principles of the scientific method. Giving elements purpose and emotion frames the periodic table as a series of connected stories. Students learn through narrative logic instead of memorizing isolated facts. Knudson's body of work demonstrates that art and intellect do not need to exist in isolated silos. They operate best as codependent tools for learning. Narrative story and interactive play function as a user interface for human beings. They are the mechanisms we use to navigate and comprehend the universe's most rigid and complex systems. Personifying chemical elements and using animal avatars to explain justice successfully bridges the gap between hard science, ethics, and imagination. Throughout human history, storytelling has functioned as an efficient data delivery system, encoding survival information and social ethics into formats we can easily remember. Knudson's project suggests that to truly master and improve our world, we must turn our data into stories. His work reflects a lifelong commitment to the idea that sharing knowledge is the most powerful tool we have.